late at night, the 3rd of January. Sat here clearing my emails from the new year. Looking at what's going on up there, I'm thinking, Jupiter. You've got Mars in Libra, doesn't like it there. You've got the Sun with Mercury and Pluto. That's fairly uncomfortable, especially with the square to Uranus in Aries. But Jupiter's quite comfortable in Cancer. And Jupiter seems to be anchoring the whole thing at the moment. Jupiter's making a hell of a lot of aspects right now. On the one hand, Jupiter is strongly opposing Pluto. This is the uncle and, two brothers making war with each other. The underworld versus the overworld. The dark and the light. This is World War III with Jupiter opposite Pluto. And Jupiter opposite the Sun at this time and over the coming 3 or 4 days is amplifying, exaggerating and illuminating perhaps this brightness, this bright sudden light. Mercury opposite Jupiter, there's a lovely aspect. You find individuals with Mercury opposite Jupiter, you find the optimism and the hope and the fortune and the growth. Mercury opposite Jupiter is not a difficult aspect. It inspires someone to study, to learn through direct experience and travel when younger and higher education when older. It's very stimulating towards consciousness expansion. Jupiter's squaring Uranus. Grandson, grandfather energy, bit cantankerous. Normally they're pretty good friends, but when they're square to each other, especially with Jupiter doing well where it's quite popular in nurturing, home-loving, comforting Cancer, whereas Uranus is in feisty, independent, me-orientated Aries. Well, the needs of the individual versus the needs of a community, stroke family, will always be a strong one. This is ongoing. It will continue through to about, I suppose, April of this year. And then, of course, we have Jupiter square Mars. Normally a pretty difficult aspect to explain because you've got the Mars dynamicism and capacity for action and Jupiter's enthusiasm. And even with the square, which produces a kind of challenging aspect, it's still generally seen as a good, well, not a bad one, because for all the lack of tact or subtlety that Mars square Jupiter brings, it still brings hope and humour. If we add to the equation the fact that you've got Mars opposite Uranus, the volatility levels that continue through until mid-April. You've also got Mars squaring Pluto again through to mid-April, creating the potential for subversive actions and developments. I think the whole thing hinges around Jupiter in the short term. And perhaps as individuals, I'm encouraged by the responses I've had to my video of yesterday where I said, well, maybe I got it wrong. Because it turns out from a lot of what individuals have been saying to me, actually I didn't get it wrong. And it has been crazy, just not been the way everyone expected. There is still this feeling of imminence and repression combined. That's yet to implode or explode. Hope it's an explode. We shall see. We shall see come April. And I screwed up yesterday, folks, when I talked about the total eclipse of the moon that's coming up during this 10-day period of April. I really screwed up. Apologies. It's not in Scorpio, is it? It's in bloody Libra. How can it be in Scorpio in the middle of April? My apologies to those Scorpios. Having said that, the full moon in Libra. For all astrologers out there, just go and have a look at the horoscope of somewhere between, I don't know, midday on the 13th to midday on the 14th of April this year. See what you make of it. To me, this is, from what I can see, this is, if there is a critical crunch point, then this is probably it. So, okay, Jupiter. Jupiter's the trigger. Remember, there's one thing Jupiter always brings, sometimes completely inappropriately, but Jupiter always brings humour. So if you can still find it in yourselves to laugh at situations, they say only a madman laughs in the face of death. Well, who says it's a sane world? Negativity can't exist where there's humour.